So we will move to our planning and community development with Megan Harrington.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Megan Harrington, Director of Planning and Community Development. So here this afternoon to present our 2025 critical needs request. As you know, planning is a very front-facing department. We focus on customer service, both at our front counter and through the development review process. And that directly impacts the county's strategic plan goal number 2 to provide that high service quality. So with that, providing the high service quality that we do, our critical need for 2025 is the addition of a position, Fire Safety and Wildfire Mitigation Program Manager. Lengthy title, but it really hits on the two needs that we have, which are a position to review for fire safety as well as the wildfire mitigation. And that need comes out of the language in the Land Development Code, as well as in the state statute. And so the statute language says that within unincorporated El Paso County, fire protection districts have the authority to adopt and enforce fire codes based on the adoption of the resolution by the Board of County Commissioners. And in 2013, the board did that. They adopted the resolution, but it accepted the wildland urban interface. And the resolution goes on to state that the board found these wildland type standards would be more appropriately addressed in the county's land development code, and that's where they are today. We rely on the fire authority, which is the fire protection district, to make recommendations to the board, but the ultimate approving body is the Board of County Commissioners. In 2020, that coordination with the fire districts was amended into the land development code, and now the code does read that we use the fire authority for making recommendations, but goes on to state again that the final authority for approval stays with El Paso County. So having a position that has fire safety protection background and that subject matter expert within the department will just help us bridge that gap between coordination with the fire districts and the development. So the code also states that the Board of County Commissioners may adopt alternatives. And having a position that is a subject matter expert for fire safety within the department will assist us in making those recommendations to you. So Chapter 6.3.3 of the Land Development Code is the fire safety and wildfire protection sections. So we would see this position really ensuring compliance with adopted codes through the development review process, providing technical assistance to county officials, perhaps working with the Sheriff's Office, Office of Emergency Management, coordinating wildfire mitigation partnerships, and again, being that main point of contact with fire officials. We have great coordination now, but that would just give us a dedicated person within the department to ensure that we continue that coordination. Then this position would review all of the land development applications and could potentially also coordinate on-site inspections. Is what is being approved on paper being constructed in the field? So this is the planning department's budget. It's the $120,000 for the position. I believe that equates to about $152,000 with the $2,500 for the one-time FTE setup. And that concludes my presentation.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes, I think this is a very good idea. And I can just even keep my comments at that, but having the Black Forest area in my district and the Woodmore area in my district, I know of at least, we rely a lot on the homeowners to personally do the wildfire mitigation. I know the city passed some kind of tax to help with wildfire mitigation on the west side. But I always say wildfire mitigation is your own personal responsibility. But we do have some resources in our community that once this employee is hired and onboarded, would be useful to have them know about. One is the slash and mulch in Black Forest, which is quite popular in the summer. And then I think Woodmore does an annual cleanup too. And it's just helpful to know those kind of things too, so that we can get the message out to more and more people who do mitigate their properties. But this is, I think, going to be a fabulous addition. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Vice Chair Bremer.
Thank you. Over and over again, as your project teams bring forth applications to us, this becomes a question that we don't always have the data at our fingertips for. And I just appreciate your figuring out a way for us to be able to answer the questions that we're all, that we've all at times asked. And I think it's just a very good idea, is a great way to put it. And I look forward to future land use decisions being able to really know what a situation actually is, and to also provide that customer service at the beginning of any application process that someone may bring forward.
Yeah, and Commissioner Bremer, I think we're doing a great job internally with interpretation of the existing land development code, but taking it to a position that is a fire safety professional. If we need to evaluate that language, which is in the code, do we need to make changes, and what are those changes? That is another area where this position will be extremely helpful to the county.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I think this is excellent. Program manager working in this space, same as my colleagues have mentioned. To take it perhaps just a bit further, though, once you have a program manager in place, they're going to need, I think, a set of tools in order for them to do this job well. Certainly, reviews of the code and all of that, that's certainly part of it. But I do know that we got at least a limited modeling capability at PPACG. I believe you may have access to it or have used it occasionally, and they are using it for, at least in a kind of a very simplistic way, with regard to infrastructure development. And really, when we talk about evacuation of high-risk fire areas, there's an interplay between the area, the codes of the houses, and the ability for people to evacuate out of those places, and that is an infrastructure component. So it just seems like an additional thing to take on with this is to work on giving this program manager some tools that maybe might be able to model how to get out of these dangerous places, but it also could be maybe helping to inform us with regard to what additional mechanical mitigation that we might need, in which case then we could go chase a grant for that or something. But it is kind of a system with regard to fire safety that can have all of these elements and components included in that. So if you're already there with some of those tools, that's great. But if not, that sounds like something to work on.
Sir.
Thank you.
I'll just add that thank you for this. I too think it's a good idea. And I think it really demonstrates some of the responsiveness to our citizens, which I appreciate. I think some of the items that were brought up are probably really a little bit in the OEM lane, and I'm sure that there will be great crossover and potential for working together with this new individual. So do you have any final comments?
No, I don't. Thank you, commissioners.
Okay, with that, I'm going to call for public comment on this item. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on this presentation? And no one in the room and no one online. Okay, with that, I think we have some final comments from Ms. Simmons.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Actually, I don't have very much this afternoon. We don't have any updates to the budget. We're still trending on track for how we budgeted through the preliminary balanced budget process. So no proposed updates from staff. So at this point, our next budget hearing will be on November 5th. That is the hearing that we will do final direction in public session. So that's the day I get to play with a spreadsheet and actually do math in public, where we won't take any action that day, but we will take head nods and direction from the commissioners on what you would support in the final original adopted budget. And so that's through that date is the date where we would accept public comment to have that guide the budget process. And so if citizens wish to submit any comments, they can do that through the budget office, they can do that through county administration or any commissioner directly. And so just want to put that out there. And that's all I have for today.
Any final comments or questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.